Hi, I'm Jane from Ukraine, and I've been here on Booktube talking about books and art and a little bit of both and Ukraine since the beginning of the full-scale invasion from Russia here onto my land of Ukraine. I started this channel February 22nd, 2022. I literally looked it up. And full disclosure, this video is going to be very rambly and filmed on 2 different days. Oh, I actually cut out all the parts that I filmed on a different day, and I think that I'm just going to refilm this whole thing. Because I completely forgot about this part of what I wanted to say in my emotional state of wanting to get all of this information out and to you. So I am going to try and edit all of this mess together into some kind of cohesive narrative, and let's just start. I think that, yes, Booktube probably is decaying a little bit. I don't want to say dying. And I think that not only Booktube, but long-form content on YouTube and on other kinds of platforms in general. I think that since the beginning of TikTok, we've had this influx of short-form content on all kinds of platforms. Instagram rolled out its Reels thing, then YouTube Shorts began, and we all just really invested into that form of content. And there's nothing wrong with that. New things appear every single day. And I actually enjoy short-form content now that I've gotten used to it. Because I remember when TikTok first came out, I wanted to try this new thing that everybody was talking about, but I couldn't really get into it. The short form content was too short for me. I need long-winded explanations. I like long, boring books. I like somebody deep diving into some very obscure topic and just talking and talking about it for hours on camera. I like very real interactions with the camera, which is why I'm making it my mission this year now to just be more natural on camera and try not to hide my ADHD as much as I am, because I'm ashamed of it. Just be myself, and yes, I will find my people who will find my way of delivering information interesting and engaging. And maybe that won't be very many people, but they will be my people. I completely got off track. Well, that's okay. That's exactly what I was talking about, letting my ADHD run unashamed. So yes, when short-form content first got popular, I couldn't really get into it, but then I gave it another go because YouTube Shorts somehow catered much more to my viewing desires. I still don't watch a lot of TikTok. Like, I watch specifically my followed feed from the people that I follow because I want to see what those people specifically have posted. But getting into something new, finding out new accounts, that is still a little bit overwhelming for me, which is why I don't find many new creators through TikTok. But on YouTube, somehow the algorithm probably knows my tastes so well now that it's easier for me to be in the book community here on YouTube. And I really, really don't want to see it go away. I think that we just need to try and push our long format videos more, post little snippets from them on Shorts and just reach out to other creators, do readathons together, do buddy reads, create book clubs, create lives together, just do all of this stuff that used to make this community so great. I'm not saying these things aren't happening right now, but a lot of people have kind of moved into their own little cliques. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, people will form their friend groups, but I just feel like we need to reach out more to the community at large just to create that lively feeling again. Which is why I also want to say that if you like what I read, if you like the way I talk about the things I read, and you want to buddy read with me, you want to invite me to your book club, you want to suggest a book for me to read and do a vlog of, please let all those thoughts flow into the comments. Just leave them there. Reach out to me with any ideas you have. If you've always wanted to buddy read a book that I've said before that is on my TBR, please reach out to me. Don't be afraid. I am incredibly socially anxious myself, and I understand what it is like to be shy and wanting to talk to someone in the community, but being afraid. And I completely understand, and I promise it's going to be fun if you decide to reach out to me or to any other creator who you find interesting and who you would like to communicate with. There's nothing wrong with that. Now I would love to talk to you about the things that never would have happened for me in my life if I weren't on Booktube. Booktube is such a good thing for me, and I just met so many wonderful people that I consider friends, and I'm just so happy that they're in my life, and that never would have happened if it weren't for BookTube. The first time I discovered BookTube was many years ago when a friend of mine sent me a link to a video by Lily C. Reads. It was a book review of Anna and the French Kiss, I think, and my friend was saying how funny it is. I watched the video and it was really funny, and it was incredible to me that there were people on YouTube talking about books. I wasn't really using YouTube that much other than to like look up a tutorial on something I was doing or listen to some music, and I didn't know that there were these whole communities of people doing different things. So when I was watching Lily's video, at the sidebar there were all these recommendations of other people holding up books and talking about them, and I was incredibly enchanted. I dove into that and I watched BookTube religiously for such a long time before I had the courage to start my own channel. And one of my first channels that I subscribed to, one of my favorite booktubers, was Lee Nicole. She does not post on YouTube anymore at the moment, but she still posts on Instagram, and we've kind of become friends, and I really appreciate having her in my life. And one of my favorite authors, I discovered him only because of Lee Nicole. Lee was talking about good love stories for a Valentine's Day video, which I completely stole. Here it is. And one of the books she mentioned was High Fidelity by Nick Hornby. I don't have my copy of High Fidelity, but here's Just Like You. This is Nick Hornby's last book that came out a couple years ago, I think. And I completely fell in love with this author. He writes these very simple, real human stories. They are also very English, so if you like English culture, they might be good for you. And I just love him so much. I never would have discovered this author if I didn't hear this specific recommendation from Lee. I never would have thought that such a story might be interesting for me if I accidentally picked it up in a bookstore. So if it wasn't for BookTube, I wouldn't have been holding this book in my hands. The next booktuber that I fell in love with is Books and Lala, and Kayla's recommendations are some of my favorites. Some of my favorite books I've discovered because of Kayla's recommendations. I was watching her channel for a long time without following because she kept popping up with my recommended videos, but she was talking a lot about romance novels, and I thought that I wasn't interested in romance and that I wasn't interested in listening to someone talk about romance. But after watching just a couple of minutes of a couple of her videos, I just completely fell in love with the way she delivers information, and just with her, with the way she holds herself and the things she talks about, the places she shows in Canada. All the nature is so beautiful there. And Bunny, which was a recommendation from Kayla, became one of my favorite books, and Mona Awad is one of my favorite authors. Another book that I got because of Kayla's recommendation was A Dowry of Blood, and I loved it so desperately, and I'm now savoring another book from this author, which I just read a couple of pages, a couple of chapters on my Kindle every day before sleep, and it's just enough reading to get me to nod off and to dream about that beautiful story. And I've been reading it for a couple of weeks now just because I like that savoring feeling. It's so much fun, and that never would have happened if it wasn't for Kayla and Books and Lala and her recommendation to read S.T. Gibson. So thank you, Kayla, and thank you, BookTube, for that. Another staple booktuber in the community is Ariel Bissett. Right now, she does not talk much about books specifically on her channel, but she was there when it all began. I'm pretty sure Ariel Bissett kind of invented BookTube, and she has this great, passionate way of talking about literature and about all different kinds of literature. There were so many very unusual book recommendations that I got specifically from Ariel, very intersectional books from different cultures, from different races, from different genders and sexualities, and all kinds of things that I never would have not even picked up. I wouldn't have researched them specifically. I wouldn't have known that these books existed, and now I am able to know about all of these things, and I'm picking them up. One of books on an unusual topic that I specifically have in my hands right now is Why Poetry by Matthew Zapruder. I love poetry, and this is the first book that I discovered specifically about poetry, about how to read it and how to write it. And this has helped me understand poetry better. I haven't actually finished it yet, but it is already helping me. I am now picking up other books on how to read and how to write poetry and history of poetry. I am picking up all different kinds of poetry to read, and I'm writing all different kinds of poetry, and I'm thinking about it in a very different, structured way. And that is all possible because of Ariel, who was here at the very beginning of BookTube. Ariel, please, let's talk about this whole thing. People are saying that BookTube is dying. Let's not let it die. I mean, it's transforming. We can transform it into something different and even better than before, but I don't want it to diminish. Having a community of people that you can talk to about your wildest or most passionate interest is so important for everyone. No matter what your special interest is, if you have people that you can talk to about it, it enriches your life so much. Which is why I think that it's very important that we keep this space alive and that we talk to each other. We reach out to each other when we have problems or issues, or when we think that maybe right now is a time to give our community a little boost. Let's have a big readathon, all of us together. Let's have a book club. Let's do a buddy read. Let's do a big Zoom call and show each other our pets. I don't know. Let's do something. Let's have fun. Because BookTube is really fun. It pushed me to do things that I never thought I would have been comfortable doing, like talking to a camera in my room alone and then putting it out on the internet for strangers to see. And not only strangers, my mom watches these videos, which is much scarier than strangers watching them. And let's face it, if it wasn't for the community and the freedom that just going on BookTube and talking about anything books, anything art gives us, I never would have owned these wigs and started pretending to be different people in front of a camera for a fictional book club.
So dearies, let's keep going. Let's not allow BookTube die. Maureen won't like it.
Slava Ukraini!